I'm going to be showing you guys how to do this lovely look. It's very simple. It didn't take longer than 45 minutes, but there is a shortened version of it that I can show you on another day. So yes, it's just small eyeliner and a pop of color, a neutral lip, and just a little tiny bit of blush. It comes together really nicely. It's cute for a little dinner date, even on a daily go. Yes, I hope you enjoy this video. Comment and like and share below. Love you. Hello everyone, welcome to my first makeup video. I am going to be doing a very nice cool tone makeup look for the fall. I've been seeing a lot of videos and a lot of pictures of girlies with their fall makeup, but as someone who doesn't really wear a bunch of brown, that look is really hard for me to pull off. Part 2 of this series is going to be me trying to do a warm tone fall makeup look. For right now, I'm going to stick with a cool tone. It's what I'm used to. It's what I feel looks best. First, you're going to want to make sure you start off with clean hands and a clean face, and most importantly, pull your hair back. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. After this, I'm going to make sure any rings that I have on my fingers are removed. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. My biggest pet peeves when it comes to makeup is my skin either A, looking dry, or 2, my lips looking dry. So for right now, I'm going to go ahead and grab a lip balm. You can use whatever lip balm you prefer and go ahead and put that on my face, as well as a good moisturizer. Now that that is complete, we're going to go in with our prime. I personally like using the Iredale primer. I'm going to go ahead and send a picture here to what I'm using. But I love this primer, especially love it to mix with my sunscreen and my foundation. I feel like it really goes well all together. Now, overall, depending on the weather, sometimes I'm going to go straight into my primer by itself. Other times, I'm going to combine my primer with my sunscreen. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of combining, only because it is hot in Texas, and if you're going to go the full day without doing a reapply, you're going to want to do this. Now, I'm using a combination of a tinted sunscreen with a non-tinted sunscreen, as well as my primer, and I'm going to go ahead and mix all of this together. Now, typically, I don't find a sunscreen that is my color, but I've noticed that when I put a tinted sunscreen on top, that white cast doesn't really show as much as do sunscreens have, so that is a plus. I am looking for another brand of sunscreen to try their tinted moisturizers that aren't really too makeup like, because I know there's a lot of sunscreens and I feel like you're just putting like makeup on and not really like a sunscreen. So I'm gonna go ahead and look for some of that, but I'll tell you when I find a really good one. Okay, so now that I have my sunscreen and primer on, as you can tell, my face looks a lot more lummified than I did a few seconds ago. Also, make sure to blend all the way to your neck. You don't want to forget your neck. Your neck is also very important. So make sure you go ahead and do that. Now for this next step, I am going to go with a mixture of a sponge as well as a natural hair brush. A natural hair brush is so very important for this step. I used to absolutely hate putting foundation on or like any face cream products on my face with a brush, but with the natural hair brush, the experience is completely different. You don't get that random streak look, and even though like I sometimes maybe get that, I'll just quickly puff over with a sponge and it looks flawless. For this makeup look, I'm going to be using both a finishing mineral spray as well as a non-mineral setting spray. Now, the reason for this is because I'm going to be using both mineral and non-mineral products, and I've noticed that this works beautifully with mineral products versus this one is really good for my really heavy cream products that I'm going to be using today. Now, since that step is done, I'm going to go in with my Tom Ford foundation. This is a stick foundation, and if you don't already know, stick foundations tend to be really heavy. So I'm going to want to melt in this foundation. And before anyone says this is not my shade, trust me, this process that I'm doing, it's best to use a shade that isn't exactly yours. As you can tell, this one's very white. But just trust me, trust me on this one, guys, I swear. Okay, now since your product is already all melted, the method I like to use best is kind of like a pat and swoosh. And I like to put this on the heaviest parts of my face, so my cheeks would be first. And as you can tell, even though it looks super light here, it works perfectly fine with my face. So I'm going to go ahead and swoosh to the middle section. And then I'm going to blend everywhere else. So on this other side, same thing. Kind of, you know, move it around with your finger, but you don't want to like kind of like just wipe it on. It's kind of like a wipe and lift motion. I find that this way it really blends into your skin. And at the end, you can barely even tell where it's at. Same thing with the forehead. Put it on the forehead, and I'm just going to swoop it up and then grab my sponge. And then fix it up lastly with my brush. Okay, so once we have the full face, we're going to go again with a spray. I don't know why this sprayer, in my opinion, isn't as good as I'd like, but the Anastasia Beverly Hills sprayer, that one's great. I used to have the bottle. I don't know what happened to it, but hopefully I can go find the bottle so I can put more of this in there and do a nice brushed spray, because I do notice that if you pack yourself a little too much with the setting spray, your makeup starts to melt before it can set. So I like to kind of have like a slow motion with it, and this one does not deliver a slow motion. This one just goes in your face, and it's not a light spray. So make sure your setting sprays have a light sprayer. What I mean by that, it mists out really nice versus like just like a harsh, like, what is it called? The pepper spray. That's what this one reminds me of. So yes, make sure that there is like a nice little soft mist going on your face, or make sure you brush off the product really far away so that harshness doesn't come out on your face. So yes, I'm gonna go and do like probably 4 spritz of this, and then I'll be back for the contouring part. Okay, so you're going to make sure that your face is completely dry before you move on to the next step. One thing I've noticed about contour is that that whole uplift does not work on everyone. At least it doesn't work on me as well as I'd like to hope. So this product is very much well loved, as you can tell. I haven't even had it on for that long, but I feel like it's been used pretty well. I'm going to show you the areas that I like to contour, and I'm going to do it pretty harsh because I don't know if the camera's gonna pick up where I'm putting on the spots. So I'm going to, warning, probably do like the harshest lines you've ever seen, but that's just for you to get a glimpse on exactly where I like to put the contour. So typically the same thing that I do with my foundation, I want to make sure the product is really warmed up. I absolutely love how this product melts. I think it just melts like so beautifully. So I'm going to go ahead in the pan, melt the product, and then I'm going to place it on the back of my hand. And this one, since I don't exactly know yet how it's going to apply, since I'm doing this really heavy-handed, I'm gonna make sure that there's not too much on my finger. So this all depends on kind of how your face is formatted. I do have, you know, more of a fleshier face. I don't know how your face looks like. I'm pretty sure it's beautiful though. So I'm gonna make sure I'm paying attention to the points that I, you know, can see as far as like right now. So let's say if I wanted to do it identical, I'm going to put like kind of the middle of my ear down, and then I'm gonna make like a circular motion, so it's gonna kind of look like this. If I were to do it in one spot, this one has already a lot. Let me go to here. So I'm kind of just gonna go do a circle. This is just gonna cut my face just enough so that the contour is still to my face but still snatching. Same thing with like the nose. I know a lot of people like to do like all this weird stuff, but I find that just kind of where that ball, I have like kind of a ball here. So I'm gonna shave kind of like that bottom part. And also the top, I'm just gonna put a little bit right now. So there's gonna be that lift. This is the part I find so important. I don't know why, but right here, hear me out, right here. And I feel like you can already see it now, what it's doing to my face. This is not even the normal contour lifting that I see on the internet, but for some reason why, when I do this, my cheekbone just looks so pretty already and I haven't even blended it out. So I'm going to do that again on the other side, just right here. Lift it already. You can see my beautiful cheekbones, and when I blend this out, it's not going to look this crazy. But yes, I'm also going to put some right here. I'm gonna go ahead and go full around. Why not? Let's get a little crazy today. Just do the top here, and I'm going to blend this one out a little bit. Another spot I find really important is right here behind the ear. When I do not contour and when I do contour, this spot right here, it's so dramatic and how it's different. I don't know exactly why, but I've just noticed that that spot, when I get it right with the contour, it's really pretty. So I'm gonna go again right behind the ear. Nothing too fancy on placement, just right behind the ear. Also, you can go ahead and move your tongue up if you want to get like that lower part. And this is gonna help build such a beautiful jawline. Now, sometimes people like to like completely draw it forward. I actually would want to stop maybe midway, and you're gonna see a little bit of the difference with the other side that I'm only going to do midway. The reason for this is because, like I said, I have a fleshier face, so if I keep on dragging lower, it's going to kind of highlight this part. So again, I'm going to move my tongue up and then just draw a line. I'm going to draw that half point, and you see how this one looks so much higher than this one that I was like drawing so much lower? Why that is, I don't know. But that's just kind of what I see. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that again. And now I'm gonna just blend with my brush, and I'll be back. Okay, now that I've blended it out, as you can see, there is no harshness that you saw earlier, except for my nose. I'm gonna leave my nose a little harsh for the meantime, but just trust the process on this one. I promise you it will all look good. But yeah, I'm gonna leave my nose, I don't know if you can tell, but it is slightly harsher than the rest of my face. That is for a reason. Usually when you powder your face, the nose area, especially because it's like right there in the center of your face, it's gonna get blurred out a lot, even more than the rest of your face. Because, okay, remember when you put on like one shade of foundation, your face naturally has a ton of shadows, and of course how the light reflects. Right now I have my little light right here, but depending on where I put it, my shadows are different. So that same thing applies to your makeup. You want to be aware of all the potential shadows that are going to be all around your face. Also, you're going to see me move around the lights a lot. I just want to make sure what looks good, what doesn't look too good. So yes, that's why. But, excuse my dogs. I'm going to be using two different powders. One of them is a softer, lighter powder versus the other one that is a more of a warm tone powder. This warm tone powder I'm going to go ahead and put on the edges of my face, versus the lighter powder I'm going to stick to the middle of my face. This is why I wanted a lighter powder, because this is the reason why I wanted my harsher contour, because this product is going to mute that down, but it's also going to kind of keep the shadows I have going on in my face. So there's tons of different ways that you can put on these powders. So the preference that I have is using a small little puff and dotting it off with a brush. So I'm going to kind of press this evenly in my product. Okay. Once I feel like it's even enough, I'm going to just go in with the little puff and do it around my eyes. Now, depending on how your day is going to look, you can press it until it melts into your skin, or you can brush it off. That's all just depending on you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and release some more. Okay. There you go. Looks really nice. And now I'm going to grab my little natural hair brush and just brush this off nice and gently. And I'm going to do the same with the areas I mostly contour. But if you're feeling a little bit more out there, you can go ahead and go in with a bronzer. Now, I know there's always been a talk where a bronzer and a contour, two different things, which I 100% agree with. But I feel like if you have a bronzer that kind of goes along with your contour, you can kind of get away with it a little bit, but like I said, it depends. For example, this is my contour shade. This is the shade of my bronzer. It is just ever so slightly lighter than my contour shade, which is why if I use this to kind of decorate what's on top, that is totally fine. Or if you're feeling a little frisky, you can mix them up together. I also like using this as like an eyeshadow, so I actually forgot to contour my eyes, which I was debating on doing since I'm going to be doing an eyeshadow look, but I'm going to go ahead and do it after all, because I mix these two together. I really don't need to set it, and I think it's a nice base. So right now I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of powdering with a darker shade on the outside, and then I'm going to go ahead and go in with my bronzer. Since this is a winter look, I'm not going to go crazy on the bronzer. I'm just going to put the tiniest little bit amount. Okay, so my light decided to die on me, so I won't be having it for the rest of the video. But it's all good. So you can't see on this side. I'm gonna start showing this side more because the quality of the camera goes down when I show the unlighted side. So for the lighted side, I'm gonna go ahead and, that is too bright. Okay, I'm gonna adjust this a little bit. So for this one, I decided to do the little darker shade of powder. As you can tell, again, it's not too obvious, but I'm gonna cover that up. It's a little too harsh. So yeah, that is the base so far. Now it's time for the blush. The blush I have is fairly light. This color by itself isn't going to bring that much power, but that's intentional because the eye look is going to be the star of this show. So to do blush, what I like to do is, first off, sometimes if I feel like the base is a little too dark, I'll put my light foundation on again. But if that is not the case, then I'm going to go in with a liquid color that is very similar to my powder, or I'll just go in with my powder. But before I do that, I'm going to spray with some of my setting spray. And I'm not going to do this because then when I hit my brush with my powder, it's going to create what I already did right here, this little dark spot that doesn't really pick up pigment. Okay, so now we're going to go in with the brows and shadow look. Actually, I don't think I set my face. Okay. I just wanted to do that real quick before I forgot. So yes, we're actually gonna go with blush. Now remember where we were. My phone storage ran out, so I'll fix that real quick. Anyways, so the blush, I always like to do the 2V section with my blushes, mainly because I notice it does like a nice shape on my face versus the line up that I see common, because on me I feel like it just lengthens my face and I just want my face to be, you know, present as it is right now and not just off, I guess. So yes, I'm gonna make sure that my brush is ready to go. I'm gonna go into my powder really heavily. I'm going to do a V. Now there's two ways I like to do the 2-finger front rule and then go on. I think that looks nice. Or like I said, go crazy with it with the V and go up. They're both kind of equal. I don't really prefer one over the other, but I just remembered about this one, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it. And if you have issues kind of seamlessly blurring in your blush for the middle part, you're gonna want to, let me see, your light powder and kind of blend it in the front and also in the inner corner. This way, as you can tell, the blush is now seamless. There's no harshness. You can also do the same thing on the bottom so that the blush looks very present. Since I have such a harsh light going on, the shadows that I am making right now are going to be pretty hard to see, but I'm hoping you can still kind of see where they are. I'm going to go ahead and blend that in. I missed it. So yes, you can kind of see now more or less. I could put more blush on, but like I said, right now I want the eyes to be the star of the show, so I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to be doing my brows off camera because, lo and behold, it is not my thing. I'm not the person you should be asking for brow advice. I'm going to be truthful on that, but I'm going to go ahead and go in with a simple brow gel and possibly lengthen this up a little bit. Please do not follow my tutorials on brows, at least not yet. I will tell you when I'm good at it. Okay, so I'm gonna be, oh, I don't like how that started. Now that my brows are done, I'm going to go ahead and go in with my top favorite winter type of palettes. Now these are both a little bit more on the pricier side, but I didn't get them for an expensive price. This one I found luckily at a Ross for $17. So that was a steal. These are the colors it has. They're all very gorgeous. And then I have this palette that I got in Italy, and I paid about $14 for it, but regular price was $36. I think it's really worth it. I would have bought this for regular price just because of the glitters that they have, as well as the color combination. I mean, I would use every single one of these colors. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do the eyeshadow look for this one. It's going to be quite intense, but I would still say like beginner friendly. To make this look more beginner friendly, I'm going to be using 2 shadow sticks. I personally love shadow sticks, especially these from Wet n Wild. They're very affordable. There's a lot of them, and you just can't really go wrong with this. Oops, I flattened the tip. Okay, just make sure you don't do that. I sharpen these pretty heavily. I mean, also look at the color payoff. This is a beautiful white that I'm going to be using, as well as this other color right here. That is a beautiful brown shade. Now, as you can tell, this one, even though it's brown, it's more cool. I also like to use this for my contours, but these two are going to be the base of everything. I am literally going to go and rub this white one practically all over my lid. I'm gonna go start right here in the inner corner. I did recently break the tip, so it's gonna be a little bit harsher. But yes, I'm gonna go and do a beautiful white base. I mean, look at the color payoff. This thing is like beautiful. Same thing with the other side. Go right here, get in with my finger, play around with it. I also like how it does just a natural C shape, nothing too crazy. If you want, you can go add in more. I'm gonna add in more. I'm going to add this in until this part looks white, just because that is going to be the carrier of color. I need it to be white. There you go, perfect. And now for the brown, same thing on the end. I'm going to go in at the bottom, bring it in and flick it out. It's very, very, very subtle. You can't even see it, except you're gonna start to see it when I put. Okay, so now that we have that settled in, I'm going to go in with this color right here. This color is a grayish brown tone. It's picking up more brown on camera, but it's more gray in person. And I'm also going to be using this shade over here, which is a beautiful brown. And again, I don't know why it's picking up warmer in camera. This is a true brown in person. Okay, so with this color, when you're working with bright colors, it can, not bright, dark colors, it can be a little scary, but I'm going to show you a tip. First, make sure to start off with a light color first. And now with this look, you don't know how it's going to look like actually, so I'm going to go ahead and do one look so that you can kind of see where I'm going with this first. Okay, so now you see more or less where I'm going with this. It's not going to look super gorgeous right now. This is just the first step, so if it looks a little chopped up, don't worry about it, trust the process. So right now I'm going to go in with my brown shade, this one right here, tap it twice. I'm gonna do a C shape, not too high and not too low, just a C, just like that. And then I'm gonna go in on the bottom. If you can change brushes if you want to be more precise, but I'm just going to pinch this brush and go a little out, just like that. Real simple. And I'm going to also use the same thing to kind of darken my lash line. So right now, this is what we're starting off with, very simple. Now also make sure you clean your brush in the middle processes, you know your makeup look is going to be amazing when your hand starts to look all messed up. So yeah, pro tip, slip your hand. And then I'm going to grab the brown shade. It's gray. The gray shade. And I'm going to pack the little section even darker than what it was before. And even a little tiny bit up. And you're probably wondering, how did it get diffused? Well, pick up a clean brush and you just kind of whack that thing all over the place. I'm just kidding. No, you want to make sure you have a structure, so just kind of follow how your natural lid is. So if your lid is more down, put your lid more down. I mean the shadow more down. If it's lifted, make it more lifted. Or if you want to go against your natural features, go for it. I'm not there to judge. But yes, I'm just going to go like that, a little down. And voila. This side is going to look more dramatic because it's facing the light. But in theory, they're going to be practically the same. And if they're not, I can go ahead and fix it. So yes, I'm going to go and add just a little bit more darkness here. Okay, there we go. And wing it out. There you go. Gorgeous, beautiful. Now, this is the first step. This part is optional. I'll give you options. I'm going to go in with a purple shade, but you can go in with a glittery shade already, or you can go in with a neutral shade. Whatever you want. So I'm going to be a little bit more dramatic. I'm going to grab a kind of flat brush and I'm going to go in with my beautiful purple shade and do my pop of color. I'm going to keep it, for the most part, controlled in the middle, not in the middle, in the beginning and stopping at the middle. I'm going to do the same for the other side. If you like a dramatic line, you can leave it as is, but I went ahead and softened up that middle ground where both pigments marry. And I'm going to go ahead and go with that neutral I talked about earlier, a neutral color, and I'm going to just dance it around the top, not really this middle section. That's fine how it is. So again, the neutral shade, find that middle, marry it into the color. Very nice and simple. Marry the two colors. Very nice, very gentle. Perfect. But I actually feel like doing a look a little bit more intense than this. So I'm going to grab a very tiny color, brush. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab this really intense purple and just straight up line my lash line. I'm going to do a little thin, but not too thin because I'm going to put eyeliner and I still want this line to pop. Okay, so I went ahead and just simply lined my entire eye. And I did it quite dramatically, so that's why there is such a dramatic change from the last time you saw this look. But I will go in another video on how I did this exactly in depth. It's just I don't have a lot of storage right now, so I need to hurry this up. This is my top favorite eyeliner. It's a Korean brand. And again, I'm going to pretty much do the same thing I did with my eyeshadow, how I did my eyeliner, except I'm going to do it very thin just so that it looks extra sharp. Decided to also go in a little bit with my waterline, but only midway. Trust me on this part. This other inner corner, I'm going to go ahead and go in with a very light purple shade. You can't even shade. There you go. Now there's a perfect mix between the open and closed look of the eye, where it looks really big right here, but it's still very sharp. And now I decided not to do any mascara for this look, although I am going to curl my lashes and put just a little bit of gel. Okay, if you're wondering what gel I just put on, because my lashes actually came out fairly well, I would say. I used the same thing as I did with my brows. I'm going to put the link below. So close to being done with this look. My voice already can't handle it. But anyways, so next we're going to do our last step, which is going to be our lips. So I actually decided to originally go in with a natural look, but now that I'm seeing the whole shebang come together, I think I'm gonna go in with a beautiful brown and a purple lip liner. The purple actually turned out to look more brown, black. This is the color that I chose. So yeah, I guess it does look a little black on camera, but it's purple. And I'm just gonna finally top it off with this Morphe beautiful lovely gloss. It smells delicious. And there you go. This is the final look. Tell me guys what you feel, how you think. I will be showing you guys how to do these tutorials more in depth. I promise. It's just my storage couldn't take it. Yeah, but see you next time. Have a beautiful lovely day. Have fun.